should we get to the main event of the evening?
The main event for the undisputed Universal Champion. What is that way of announcing?
It's because everybody thinks that they're Michael Buffer now. And I don't know. And some of them, they're imitating Smiley Roberts over on the other channel when he herniates himself whenever Moxley comes out.
Well, this was the big match, the one everyone was waiting for. Roman Reigns, the Universal Champion, versus Cody Rhodes.
Well, I would have liked to wait a little longer after I saw what I saw. Cody's entrance in the Sgt. Pepper outfit with his mom and the whole family in the front row, that was good. Were there 6 grand pianos for Roman Reigns' entrance?
Well, there were 6 pianos. It looked like one guy had a Casio stuffed in there, so I don't know what they were really playing, but...
I'm not sure. It may have been, Kay Kaiser and his College of Musical Knowledge, but nevertheless.
Get Shane out of the way. We need to get the pianos down the hall. Hey, real quick, I thought it was really cool that Cody Rhodes had Brody Lee Jr. -1 in AEW there at ringside, and I'm sure it meant a lot to him.
Yes, really cool. He gave him the belt, right? The weight belt.
Right, but then Solo stole it, that dastardly Solo Sikoa.
No good son of a gun. But yeah, now that's the way to use Brody Lee's son and make him feel good and make him part of things and not, the way that AEW. But again, another company does AEW shit better than AEW does. From the time Roman Reigns said, "Acknowledge me," and the people blew, they were into this. It's what they came to see. And the match, I thought, was as close to, as perfect as, until the finish, was as close to as perfectly what they should have done as possible. And again, they start with wrestling. And they did exactly what they should do. A back and forth, but not trading moves with each other. It was momentum changes where it made sense that one guy would take over and then something would happen and the other guy would get blah, blah, blah. And then, again, they're not going to take all the giant bumps in the first part of the match, but the Cody especially has been mixing his matches up where he'll give them some wrestling. He'll give them a cute spot that pays off and gets a pop. They'll go out on the floor and they'll rattle some things around and a couple of body slams on the floor. But Cody, at the same time, at least pays lip service to rolling in and breaking the count to the referee so that he doesn't bury it completely, even though it's very loose. A little bit of everything to keep it moving. And they obviously clearly set up who was heel and who was babyface. Solo and Heyman are there, and Solo interfered to hit Cody in the ribs with a chair. And then Cody would fire up a second later, and Solo tripped him. And then they did one of the big bumps, the big spots, where they went out to the announce desks, and Roman tried the pile driver, and Cody backdropped him through the desk, and that looked like $1 million. But then Cody rolls Roman in, and Roman was running again. Even them. But Cody makes a big comeback. People are up. He hits the first Cody cutter, gets a 2 count. And then he hits his dive and throws him in. And that's where Solo stole the belt and whipped Cody with it. And good old referee Rudy Charles from TNA, my old friend, heard it and kicked Solo out of ringside. And now they start the big false finishes, and they had some great ones. Cody super kick and crossroads 2 count. Roman rock bottom 2 count. Cody pedigree 2 count. Roman Superman punch 2 count. And now you're seeing Roman Reigns' facials. He's got doubt. He's got despair. He's got, dare I say, even panic. Right? The facials were great on Roman because he was into another zone of showing vulnerability, right?
Yes, I'm agreeing with you. Yes.
So then, again, some more false finishes. When Cody got the figure 4, the announcer, Cole and Corey Graves, popped like it was Dusty's hold. How many matches did His old man win with that. Almost none.
How many championships? He actually said how many championships has he won with that hold? Not one I could think of.
The only time when he wrestled Flair and would reverse it, that's when he'd get the figure 4.
Dusty Rhodes won more matches with a flying cross body than he did the figure 4 leg lock.
And that wasn't really a flying, it was just a cross body. It's more like a cross body drop. Anyway, so then there was Roman reversed the figure 4. Cody got the ropes. Roman hit a spear and got a 2 count. And then he front face locked Cody, but Cody fought out of it. And Cody got the ground and pound, went for the kick, and Roman moved and they wiped the referee out. And then Roman hit the punch, but then Cody hit a clothesline and they both sold. And Cody was going to go for the crossroads when here come the Usos with the super kicks and a 1D on Cody. And they drag Roman into the cover. But then here comes Sammy and Owens hit. And they fight the Usos, to the point where the Usos bail. And then I was like, Owens gave Roman a stunner and Sammy hit the kick on Roman. And I didn't know, because I still thought they were going to do the right thing. And I thought, I don't know how I felt about that. And because to me, when baby faces run out to stop interference in a title match or to help a top baby face, they can't do any damage for him. They only have to level the playing field. They have to take out the people that are interfering. They have to neutralize the outside menace. But when they do damage to the babyface's actual opponent, then that becomes this guy not doing it on his own, but he had people helping him. Now, we didn't have to cross that bridge by the time we got to it, but that's what I was concerned about there. But then the Usos came back in and fought Sammy and Kevin off. So Cody, at that point, crawled back in and covered Roman, and the referee got back in and gave the slow count, like this is going to be it. 2 count, kick out. And I'm, now I wrote going too far, ? Because if that's not it, what can be, right? And they fought on their knees, and they went back and forth, and then Cody hit the jabs and the flip-flop and fly and the bionic elbow, and the people are up again, and a crossroads, and a second crossroads, and as he's pulled him up, and he's going to go for another one, Heyman jumps up on the apron and draws the referee, and Cody's standing there for longer than he should have been. And then in comes Solo in a hoodie in disguise and hits him in the throat with the spike. And Roman hits the ropes after he's been flip-flopped and flied and bionic elbowed and crossroads twice. Roman jumps up, hits the ropes, and spears him. 1, 2, 3. Cody is defeated. And it went, hey! What do you think, Brian?
I was really getting into it by the end of it. And when Solo hit that spike before the pin actually happened, I said, oh no. And then Roman won. Like everyone, disappointed, had expectations going into this. We talked about the Lex Luger comparisons. It wasn't even that. I feel bad for Cody. WWE, Paul Levesque during the press conference after the fact said, we have our story. We're still telling it. This is still the beginning of the Bloodline story. So they don't see Cody winning it as, they see Cody winning it maybe the same way they saw Sammy winning it. This is just another step to whatever the bigger story is. It better not be Dwayne Johnson coming back to end the Bloodline. It has to be someone being made because of this. And Cody was in that spot. I mean, the big question I have coming out of this, Roman and the Bloodline, the storyline will continue starting tonight on Raw. But for Cody, even if he wins the title now at some point, it doesn't mean as much as it would have. So
see, that's, well, go ahead.
No, you go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, that's the thing. That's exactly the thing. It probably won't mean as much. Now, again, they can have some, and they better, but they can be convinced that they have some twists and turns, some development, whatever's going to happen from here, that it'll be, wait till you see it, and it'll all play out, and it'll be even better than, you thought it was going to be. That's, I'm sure, what's in the mind of creative in the office. And I'm sure there's a lot of people who trust them and like them are going to be saying, well, of course, they weren't going to do it then. And you got to see what's going to happen and how everything's going to play out. The problem is, this is a story. And at some point, every story, even new chapters, you can't just have an endless book. Every story has to come to an end, and then you either write a new story with new characters, or you use the same characters and you write a sequel. But every story has to have some nominal end, and this was the perfect place for this one. If the Peck tear hadn't happened, and when Cody first came in, they were probably pointing toward this year's WrestleMania anyway. I don't know what they would have done to keep him busy if he hadn't been out for 9 months. But when the Peck tear happened, and the packages have been so good, the promos have been so good, people have gotten into the story. People are always into the fucking story until they're not into the story anymore. And the balancing act that you walk is it's the same thing, telling a joke. Or fucking, the punchline has to come with the timing, comic timing, athletic timing, everything's timing. When the time is right, as Abdullah the Butcher used to say. And I'm sorry, but I just wonder if this is maybe an even bigger budget equivalent of the Sheik throwing the fireball at Andre in Toronto. Well, now do people just say, well, fuck, okay, that's it. There is no hope now. So we'll go about our business. For the people who don't know what I just referenced, the Sheik for 7 years in Toronto was undefeated. And they ran Toronto 25 times a year in those days. Every show that he was in the main event. He was on almost all the shows, and every show that he was on drew more than 10,000 people. So he was selling north of 250,000 tickets a year in Toronto alone for 7 years. Never lost. They bring in Andre the Giant. Andre versus the Sheik. People, now this has got to be it. Andre fucking comes in the ring. Sheik comes in the ring. They go 2 minutes. Sheik throws a fireball in Andre's face. Andre rolls out, gets counted out. And Sheik never drew 10,000 people in Toronto again, did he, after that?
I don't think so.
So there's a time where every good story peaks, where we talked about it on the previous show, where sometimes you have to give the people what they expect because it's the logical thing. And when you sometimes extend these things past their natural life, it doesn't have the same effect when you finally do whatever you were going to do. So I don't have a good feeling that they did the right thing because of the anticipation and the expectation and the genuine, wanting this more than people mostly, usually, lately, recently, have wanted anything to happen in that whole company. And they may have put it off until the point where it ain't going to pop like it would have.
And now the story also is beyond the bloodline stuff tonight, Cody, because he didn't just lose. He was laying there in the ring while they celebrated. And then as they left, he was just in the ring sitting there by himself. There wasn't a big, all right, let's hear it for Cody moment or anything at the end. He was just sitting there seeing all this happen. So it's going to be, the creative is going to be a big part of this. What are they going to do with Cody from here?
Who are they going to make in the next year that will have a better story, more momentum, more attractive, culminate in such a place, in such a way, with such a match that they can make that person by beating Roman Reigns? If not now and this guy, then when and who?